So in short term, if you don't know how to read news data, you will receive backshots from Jerome Powell. No cap. How y'all doing? As you can see, another educational banger. Today's topic is how you can spot news data, how you can read news data, and how can you implement it to the markets. Well, first of all, you may wonder, what the hell is news? What are you talking about, bro? Let's put it like this. Do you sometimes enter a trade and you're like, what the hell? I just got stopped out. The price just ripped into my stop loss and I became liquidity. You're like, huh? What happened? Well, most of the time, what happened? What causes a sudden rip to the downside or upside? Like sudden, all of a sudden. News or events. And this video is for you guys who don't know how to read news data or implement it to the markets. So stay tuned. Alright, what's then? What's gonna happen? You're gonna open up a Chrome tab or Edge or whatever, Firefox, whatever you use. Okay? Go to Google. What you're gonna write is forexfactory.com. I have it right here, so I'm gonna just click like this. Okay, so it takes you to a place like this. The page looks like this. But what you're gonna do, you may wonder like, this looks hella complicated. How can I find the news data or the events that are going to happen? It's simple. You can see right here. I mean, this looks kind of like complicated, but all you actually need is this area, this calendar. Okay. All right. It's gonna take you to a page like this. As you can see, we have our calendar. Today is Sunday. Okay. Obviously, on Sundays, you are not going to trade, so it doesn't matter. But in this case, as you can see, we have US daylight saving time. So that is actually really important. By the way, I actually explained this in a previous video. But if you don't know, daylight saving time, what does it do? Especially it's US. What does it do? If you live in other area than US, what's going to happen? New York session and New York Stock Exchange is going to open 1 hour earlier than before. So keep that in mind. If you don't know that, you're going to trade on wrong time. Okay, that is just an example. Okay, but for example, you're going to open the weekdays. So I'm going to start with Monday because tomorrow is Monday. Okay, what does it show? Orange folder. Okay, it consists 4 types of folders. First of all, we have non-economic. What does that mean? Usually bank holidays, or for example, you saw here an event that's going to happen like daylight saving time. Okay, bank holidays, for example, then you shouldn't trade if it's like the pair that you're trading. For example, if I trade S&P 500 and it is US holiday, I'm not going to trade then. Why? Because the banks are on a holiday. What does that equal to? The markets ain't going to move that much. That's a gray folder. All right, next up, we have yellow folder news. This one is like, let's be honest, I don't even mark this. It's not going to really affect the markets. Let's be honest. That's why I'm not going to mark it. Okay? So you can also leave it unmarked. But if you're really curious, then you can just leave it. But let's be honest, trading is all about making it simple. So let's be honest, you can leave it unmarked. Okay? Then orange folders. This I have marked. But this is also like, it has an impact to the markets, don't get me wrong, but usually it's not that big of a deal. Like if you have orange folder news coming up, you can trade it. Like it's not going to affect the market that much, but I'd still be aware, okay? Because obviously it depends what kind of orange folder news it is. Different ones are going to affect more, and these different ones and other ones are not going to affect that much. Okay, so that's all orange folder news. But I'm gonna leave it marked, okay? Because it does affect the markets. Not gonna lie, not that much, but it has an impact. But then we have red folder news. This you most definitely have to watch out. Like this kind of news, it doesn't matter what type of it, like what type of news is it. it's always going to affect the markets. That's why I advise you not to trade right before red folder news. Like, why? Because let's be honest, if you trade right before red folder news, what's going to happen? You're gambling. And usually when red folder news, because it impacts the market so much, it can literally weak the other side and weak the other side. Like, you're going to get stopped out and also your take profits get hit, but you know, it's just, you get liquidated, okay? Usually, most of the time. Obviously, sometimes you can get lucky, but that's just gambling. Like I told you, it's gambling. So do not trade right before red folder news. Or if it's like CPI, we'll get into that later, then I wouldn't even trade on that whole day, because, you know, the price is just waiting. It's just waiting for the news, and it's not going to be that volatile until the news hits. And after that, same thing, it's not going to be that volatile. So, okay. All right, then, as you can see, we have currencies. You're going to choose the ones that you're trading with, the pairs that you're trading with. If you trade Forex, let's say you trade Forex. You trade GBP USD, Great British Pound against the US dollar. What are you going to choose then? Obviously, you're going to choose GBP currency and USD currency. Always. And if you trade Euro USD, then obviously you're going to choose Euro and USD. Even if it's GBP versus the Canadian dollars, you're still going to use, obviously you're going to pick those, but I advise you to always leave this marked, this USD, because it affects everything. Like, because let's be honest, United States, they literally have the highest impact on price. Okay, but you get the point. You choose the ones that you trade with. Even if you trade Bitcoin, because it's BTC USD, you're gonna choose USD then. And obviously, event types, you're gonna choose all of them. You're just gonna choose all of them, because if it's red folder news, it's still gonna affect the markets. Doesn't matter, is it employment, transfer bank, housing, MISC, doesn't matter. Okay, now that we know the basic stuff, okay, now let's get into details, okay. I opened up next week, Wednesday, okay. I'm gonna show you the GBP part, okay. As you can see, at 9 a.m., which is 1 hour before London session opens, like, this is my time, my actual time. For you, it may be a little bit different, okay. But let me put it like this: we have three kind of parts. Previous, what was the news like the last time it came? What was it? Was it good for the currency? Was it bad for the currency? As you can see right here, it was bad. But the forecast, what is a forecast? Forecast is a prediction. This case, the predicts that it's going to be good. And this is the actual that comes after the news, that shows you, was it actually good for the currency or bad for the currency. Okay, if you open up these details, you can open the details. As you can see, measures change in the total value of all goods services produced in economy. It is a economic growth rate. But honestly, do not think about it too much. Okay, this is what you actually want to read. Actual greater than forecast, which means it's good for the currency. That is, remember, this is just a prediction. So this predicts that the news is going to be good for the currency. So the actual is going to be better than the actual forecast in the previous. So it means it's going to be good for the GBP pair. But okay, remember, this is just like a prediction, usual effect. Okay, and if you go on Thursday, this upcoming Thursday, this is USD news, core PPI, really high impact news. If we open up it, as you can see, actual greater than forecast, which is good for the currency. So it predicts that it's going to be good for the currency, that the actual currency of US, like, it's going to go up. Okay, but remember, that's just prediction, but hear me out real well, okay? You got to listen up, okay? If you trade stocks, indexes, freaking commodities. What does that mean? If it's good for the currency, like even if you trade crypto, if it's good for the currency, it's gonna be bad for the commodities, crypto indexes, whatever, stock indexes. It's like they're battling each other. If the currency is doing good, the stocks are doing bad, and etc. And other ways also. Okay, so I can show you an example. Okay, if we open up TradingView, hold on, TradingView. Look, this is the S&P 500. So like 500 stocks, like index, you know. This is like an overview of all of them. And as you can see, let's just go in a weekly time frame. As you can see, we have been hella bullish, okay? We have been ripping to the upside. We're making all-time highs. The S&P 500 has never been this good. As you can see, the bull run. I don't call it a bull run, but you know, when it started to go up. When was it? Look, Monday, 23rd of October, 2023. As you can see, started to go up. Like after this down move. On this specific date, if the stocks go up, this is a stock index, we could go on an DXY. What is a DXY? US dollar index, like the actual US dollar index. Remember the same date that this started to go up, October 23rd, as you can see right here, October 23rd, this dollar index started to go down. So now you see what I mean. Like always, dollar or the currency, if it goes down, all the other goods like commodities, indexes, crypto, all the goods are gonna go up. If this is going down, like if the currency is gonna go down, the others are gonna go up. Remember, the market, if the currency is going down, the market is gonna go up. Remember. So how can we implement it to the news? Look, if the news are telling us, like predicting that the forecast, like it's gonna be hard than the forecast, better than the forecast, good for the currency, how can we implement it? Usually, if it's good for the currency, like always, what does that mean? The stocks, etc., are gonna go down. If it's bad for the currency, the markets, the stocks, the commodities, crypto is gonna go up. That's how it goes, and that's how it will always go. But remember always, this is just a prediction. That's why, me personally, and I do not recommend you either, not to trade right before news, because hear me out. Let me just put the glasses on. Let me explain this well. What does it do? Since red folder news are hella impactful, what is it going to do? It's going to rip to the upside or downside. Even if it says good for the currency, it can still liquidate you. You think, okay, for example, you think you're smart. This says actual greater than forecast, good for the currency. Then you're like, okay, well, Mushafex told me that if it's good for the currency, then it means it's gonna be bad for the stocks, etc. Then you're like, okay, right before news, I'ma place a short position. Then you're like, I got liquidated. What the hell? I got stopped out. And what the hell happened? Well, that's the fact. This is always like a prediction. It ain't 100% real, because it is an event. Anything can happen. That's why, me personally, and you shouldn't either, trade right before news, right before red folder news. Because let me just show you how impactful are the news actually, like the red folder news. Let me just show you. Let's go on previous Friday, 8th, okay? As you can see, we had NFPs, non-farm employment rate. Look at this. Actual greater than forecast, good for the currency. That means it's bad for the S&P. We also had unemployment rate at the same time. Actual less than the forecast, so it's like bad for the currency, good for the S&P. and this is the other way around. And this is good for the currency, so bad for the S&P. Let me just show you an example. What happened then? Okay, look, let me just show you. When was it? Right here. Just look at this. Look how impactful the news actually are. Look, especially NFPs. Look, when was it? 30 minutes after the New York session opened. Okay, New York session opened here, right? Look at this. It's here. 3:30. This is also 3:30. It's just my time. Okay, look what happens. Look at this. Boom, news arrived. What happened? This is a great example why I don't trade before news. Look, wicks out both of the sides, so the market just messes up, like tricks with you. Let's say you put a stop loss right here because you thought you were smart. It said it's gonna be less than the forecast, so it's gonna go. It's gonna be good for the S&P. What happened? It liquidated you. Also liquidated these. That's why I don't trade right before news. Like, it's hella risky. It's gambling in short term. And that's just me 100%. That's just me being 100% real with you guys. So, like, I'm gonna be 100% real. Okay, look, I never actually look at the details even. Why? If it's a red folder news, I'm like, okay, I'm only gonna trade after the news. Like, if it's like, I'm never gonna trade right before the news because it's gambling in short term. Okay, just look at this. Last Thursday, actually 2 days in a row, Fed Chair Powell testifies. Fed Chair Powell testifies. What does that mean? Jerome Powell. If you don't know who he is, look at this guy. This guy is going to speak a sentence, okay? He's going to speak. What happens? The markets rips. I don't trade on these kind of days when he speaks. Why? Because it is hella impactful, okay? Look at this. This guy, when this guy speaks, it's going to affect the markets hella, okay? But, you may wonder, who the hell is this guy? Jerome Powell is a Fed chairman. He has so much power in these markets. So don't trade on these days when he speaks, okay? If you just see USD, Fed chair, something Fed chair, and it's red folder, just skip the whole day, bro. Skip the whole day, bro. It's gonna affect the markets. What does usually, like, CPI news and Fed chair, all these FOMC, red folder news, what does it do usually? The whole market ain't gonna move that volatile, and it's gonna do some random shit until the actual news arrives. And after the news, like when the news arrives, it's gonna like affect the markets hella impactful. Okay, it's gonna rip the markets. Okay, and after that, same thing, it's gonna be less volatile. So it depends on you, but I'm not trading on those kind of days because trading is all about odds. It's all about odds. Okay. So you wanna increase the odds, obviously. So in short term, if you don't know how to read news data, you will receive back shots from Jerome Powell. No cap. But I must just be real. The way I trade, you shouldn't trade before the news, okay? Like, I'm not gonna trade before the news. You shouldn't either if you trade like me. Like, you never should trade before the news. That's just, like, all you actually have to know, you have to go every day on Forex Factory. You're gonna see, is there really high impactful news, like on the session? If there is, are you gonna skip the day, or are you gonna trade the day on the day? Okay, less news is always better. For example, this Monday we don't have like no news. GBP orange folder. I don't give a fuck. Like, this is on 1 a.m. like almost 2 a.m. Why would I care? But obviously you gotta remember, Mondays, the reason why there is no news, not that much, because the week opens and that means there are not gonna be that much volatility. But still, less news is always good. So what do I do? Every day, I'm gonna open up the Forex Factory. I'm gonna see if there's news on the day or not. If there is, if it's CPI, PPI, FOMC, then I'm not gonna trade the whole day, okay? And if it's some like unemployment claims, then I can trade after the news, like later, because sometimes, hear me out, sometimes the news can actually help you. Like, let's say you have liquidity above here, but you haven't hit him. Then the news arrived, it sweeps out the liquidity. You can literally find a setup after that. So that's one plus of the news. Like, I'm not gonna trade before the news because that's gambling, but I can use the news as my advantage. But hey man, that wraps up the video. Remember that, like I told you in the beginning of the video, there are gonna be daylight saving time. USD currency is really, really impactful. Like, if you live in another country, then remember that New York session, the New York Stock Exchange is gonna open 1 hour earlier, okay? But hey man, that's just me being real. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.